Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party, your weekly musical happy hour. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Ihrig. My other host, co-host, Ellen Stanley, aka Mother Banjo, unfortunately could not be with us today for the party. But joining us today, a very special guest coming from St. Paul, Minnesota. Welcome, Jeff Ray, to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Wow, they're really excited. I can hear it.
Yeah, that's a lot of cheering, more cheering than I usually get.
And we have some folks joining the party early today. Connie in Richfield. Hey, Connie, how are you? And Alex says, looking forward to another great show in South Minneapolis with G&T in hand. Excellent choice, Alex. This is, of course, a happy hour, so we like to imbibe with whatever it is, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, coffee, tea, whatever it is you're drinking. If you are participating in happy hour in any way, shape, or form, let us know in the comments where you are and what you are imbibing. I can say that I'm drinking a hazy IPA from Sierra Nevada today in my back catalog listening party pint glass. Jeff, what about you? Are you enjoying anything today?
Yeah. I got an Old Milwaukee. Can you believe that?
Look at that. That looks refreshing.
Old Milwaukee, very refreshing.
That looks and that's like the perfect mug for an Old Milwaukee.
Yeah, right, it's almost water, but it's technically beer.
Perfect for 4:00 on a Friday. Well, cheers to you, Jeff, and cheers to everybody out there. Alan is tuning in. Maybe from Texas. You have officially retired that extra digit. Oh, nice. So you're down in the 90s. Very good, Alan. I'm happy to hear that. And Matthew Winters joining us from Urbana. Great to have you here, Matthew. And Lynn drinking a Saison in a brand new back catalog pint glass in Greenville, South Carolina. Cheers to you, Lynn. And Lynn. Drinking out of your new pint glass in South Carolina. We just got these made up as a little perk for our Patreon members, and they're just starting to ship out. I know Ellen was hurrying to do that before she had to leave. Got some pint glasses in the mail, and for some of our other Patreon members, we're going to be meeting up next week to give them the folks that are in town, give them to you in person, and maybe try them out for our first round. But anyways, we're so grateful to have everybody here. If you're new to the program, this is the hour where we get to sit down and listen to some of our favorite artists' music, and we get to ask questions about songwriting and recording and production, arranging, performing, everything in between. And so if you are out there and are interested in any of those topics, make sure you hop into the comments and ask your questions for Jeff. But I think for those folks who don't know your work, Jeff, many people in the Twin Cities will know your name. I have seen your name as long as I can remember, looking at the local music publications. So you've been around for a long time. But for those of you who are out of town or maybe haven't heard Jeff, could you just give a brief kind of bio about where you come from, how the music, how you came into this profession of music, and where this album sits?
Yeah. So I grew up in Minnesota, in Rochester, and when I turned 17, I left. I had to get out, and I went down to Memphis and lived there for 3 years, and made a lot of friends, and that kind of schooled me. I got really into blues. Played on Beale Street a lot. I was an electric guitar kind of guy, into blues and stuff. Nice. And then I moved up to Madison after those few years in Memphis, and got really into acoustic guitar, really into people like Nick Drake, into alternate tunings and fingerstyle and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I made my way back to Minnesota. I had a lot of family up in the Twin Cities, so I was like, well, this is a good place to check out. Heard about the music scene in Minneapolis and thought it'd be worth trying. And the rest is history. I went to a resonator festival in 2002 at the Cedar Cultural Center, saw all these amazing musicians playing the resonators. And I was like, this is a match made in heaven, because I've been playing slide guitar all that time and alternate tunings and stuff. And I was sold on it right then. And, within a year I had a resonator, and now I got more.
Nice. So you actually were playing the resonator down in Memphis, but you got hip to it from that concert series. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So it was really like this very, very much a Minnesota inspired kind of thing.
I got to ask then, where did you purchase that resonator?
I got it at Willie's Guitars. Yeah,
Willie's American Guitars. For folks who aren't from here, that is one of the greatest guitar stores anywhere.
Yeah, and Molly Maher sold me the guitar. So and she's a
Perfect.
great player herself. Yeah.
Was she have a hand in putting on that festival too?
I think she was. Yeah, I think she was involved. She does a lot of, promoting and stuff around town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think she was involved in that.
She's so great.
And that festival was cool. It had, there were artists from all around, from Minnesota, but also we had, nationally touring artists and stuff too.
Was there one resophonic artist that caught your ear that really made an impression during that festival?
Boy, that's a hard one. I'd say, actually a big one, Pat Donahue, who's, one of the greatest players, in my opinion.
Yes.
And also Cam Waters, who,
rest in peace.
We lost him around the time of this record, actually. So we lost him, but he was a big, watching him play. And then Charlie Parr was kind of coming up at the time too. So those were all, great experiences to see them all play.
Well, you found the right town for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, up here in the Upper Midwest, anyways, the West Bank, and it's produced so many greats, and it's so wonderful to have you part of the scene too. So, tell me about this record. Like, where did it come from? Like, how many records in were you at this point? Where does this record sit in your discography?
Yeah, so this would be my fourth record, and this is the first attempt that I made to kind of create more of a band sound. And with, other players. So everything up until this album was all just me, just me performing, and whether it was multiple instruments or not. And so this one I actually, recruited local talent, and, produced it and strung it together and tried to, and it actually did lead to creating a band from this album.
Awesome.
Which is why it's kind of a fun one to revisit.
And that's The Stakes, is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep,
well, we'll probably hear more about that later. But the record is Blue Mara. It came out in 2009, and I know I can speak for all of our regulars here. We're ready for some music. The first song we have queued up here is called Sing to Me. Is there anything that you'd like to say about it before we listen?
Yeah, I guess some of the players on this song, Brianna Lane, a local
fantastic
local musician, does some harmony. Yeah, she does harmony vocals on this. Chris Becknell, who's another. He's actually a kind of a more classical guitarist. I know.
Wonderful fiddle.
Yeah, and he plays fiddle on this one. Yeah.
Wow, that's
and then
great.
Nick Salisbury, my favorite ever bass player on this. So all my favorites on here, but it's a simple 2-chord song as well. I love songs that you keep it simple, like the old Velvet Underground style, and that's what it is. So. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there's a saying in country music and in bluegrass where I'm from, where all you need is 3 chords in the truth. But I think I've heard it proven you only need 2, or maybe even 1. Even
two can work. Yeah, even 1. Yeah, sometimes we pull off 1, but that's a whole different story.
All right. Well, I'm so excited to give it a listen. This is Jeff Ray, Sing to Me, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
If I cry, sing to me, honey, if I cry, sing to me, honey, if I cry, ask of you, don't let me be. Baby, I'll kiss you back. Kiss on me, honey, I'll always kiss you back. Kiss on me, baby, baby, I'll kiss you back. I ask of you, don't let me be. No, baby. If I'm buzzed away, kiss my head, honey, I'm buzzing away. Kiss my head if I'm buzzed away. I ask of you, don't let me be. Baby, I'll think of you. Think of me, honey, I'll always think of you. Think of me, baby, I'll think of you. I ask of you, don't let me be. I ask of you, don't let me be. I ask of you.
That's Jeff Ray, Sing to Me, here on the back catalog listening party from his 2009 release, Blue Mara. And we got a comment here from Jackson, who said he was taking some lessons from you when this album was released. That's another part of your resume we haven't heard about. You're a teacher as well, huh?
Yeah. How's it going, Jackson? Good to see you. Thanks for commenting and tuning in. Jackson, he's become quite a player, I can tell you. So I was teaching for, boy, how long? When would that be? It would have been probably 04 through 10 or 11 or 12. So a good, I would say probably 7-8 years, I think, is teaching. I haven't been teaching. I'm just real busy, but and I just kind of, my specialty was always, slide guitar and alternate tunings and finger picking. And it's hard to find people around that teach that. So
well, maybe people could ask you for some advice if they come to see you. A lot of people were loving that, Alex. That's such a soulful sound. I agree. And Joni says beautiful. It really is. There is something about that kind of the slide that it's almost voice-like. Do you think of it that way when you're playing?
Definitely. One of my favorite slide players is a fella out of India. His name's Debashish Bhattacharya. He plays a lap slide. It's called a chaturanga, but it's basically like a slide guitar with resonant strings. And I got to do some workshopping with him, and he always talked about that, how the slide is kind of a very good close approximation to the human voice, but also to sounds in nature. And there's something about it that it's just a smooth, natural kind of sound. A lot like bending, we bend guitar notes, same kind of idea.
Yeah.
You get that soul coming out when you bend the note. Something's going on. I don't know.
Well, if you think of music as a language, right? And frets kind of break up the tonality, right, from one note to another, but sometimes there's notes that happen in between.
Exactly.
And when I started playing with fiddle players, I started hearing that more and more, where I'm like, oh, there's a whole another song happening in between the frets. And I was hearing it there on this one.
And those you introduce little imperfections into the sound, with those little micro movements in the pitch, which gives it life, and that's what makes it, that's what the soul is,
That's super cool. And I want to circle back to this studying with the Indian musician. How did that come about, and is that something that you're actively seeking out, just kind of other influences from other cultures?
I've been doing that quite a bit. It might creep in a little bit on the songs we hear today, but it was sometime around, I think it was 04, 05, so before this record. I was able to workshop with Debashish, and it was actually through so Steve Call, who plays with the Brass Kings.
He's
He
engineered like half the
yeah,
records on this
there
back
you
catalog show.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he so Steve Call was working with the Cedar on I think he was working actually as a helper with picking up musicians at the airport and stuff like that when they come to town. So he picked up Debashish. He knew his booking guy, and he arranged a workshop, and then he invited me and Molly Mayer and a couple other people to sit in. And so that was my exposure to Debashish, and it's
Nice.
amazing. Yeah.
Cool. And I remember when I was reading, kind of prepping for this episode and reading through your bio, that you kind of seemed like bringing in influences from other cultures is something that you're actively doing. Are there other kinds of music and sounds that you're trying to incorporate in your playing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really into like West African guitar playing. That's very difficult to to do.
Yeah.
But I kind of gravitate when it comes to blues. I gravitate to those players who kind of sound or hold on to more of that ancestral form of the blues, which is really like that hill country blues style, which is kind of when we're talking about one chord songs. Like there's a style where you can get away with doing a one chord song.
Right.
And some of the melodic movements they do. So there's stuff thrown in there that I try to get in there, but it's not overt, it's kind of hidden, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And it usually comes off as, bluesy or something like that. But so I'm always trying to get stuff in there.
Right on. Well, you mentioned Steve, and I was thinking about the recording. Where was this recorded, this album?
This was actually mostly in my house.
Okay.
So Paul Flynn, or Paul Cook as he goes by, brought equipment over. We did it on tape, actually. It was on 1/2-inch tape. Nice. And we recorded it live in my living room, and then took those what we had there over to his studio, and then finished up some of the stuff in the studio.
Nice.
So it's a really cool kind of weird. It was a weird process, very weird.
Yeah.
Every album is different.
It is, but to hear that you were doing tape in 2009 is pretty cool, because it has this organic vibe to it, and so the idea of it being live in a living room on tape makes total sense.
Yeah,
and it sounds fantastic. And I should say that I talked to Jeff before the show to see if there were physical copies left. Unfortunately, they're all sold out. You could probably tell why already, because it sounds so good. But he's currently working on getting some high-res digital files up, and if you're interested to get your hands on that, you can go to jeffraymusic.com. I'm sure you have an email list there they could sign up on.
Yep.
So when those are available, I'm sure you'll be the first to find out. It sounds really good, and it's just the kind of the tonic I needed today after a long week. And so I want to jump into some more music here. And next up, we have Cottonwood. Is there anything you want to say about this one?
Yeah. So I feel like this song kind of brought together the band for the first time. And so there's washboard on here. So that's Mikkel Beckman playing the washboard.
Nice.
Who's, in my band. And then Nick Salisbury lays down this really cool bass line that I just love. And then a weird kind of guitar nerd thing on this one is the guitar tuning is the B string, which is your second highest sounding string, is tuned lower than the G string, which is your third highest sounding string. So it's an inverted tuning, and it's really weird. And you have a super slack string, so it's really weird.
Awesome. I love that. That's just the kind of nuggets we like here. Okay, interesting. And do you find like you have to approach the chords and everything a little differently?
Yeah, the whole thing is just crazy and made for a weird sounding song. And this one, I always imagine aliens coming in and swooping us up and taking us to a better place. That's, if that makes any sense at all.
I think it will after everybody gives it a listen. This is Jeff Ray, Cottonwood, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Cotton falls from the sky between lights, houses and roads, far from side of the light, dance in a crowded race, the fruit of the fallen. They have a forgotten face. And I can see everyone falling slow around me. There's only one life that you could live it good, live it good. All you cottonwood. All right. Choice to make my friends, traveling back to the end. You can fall slow in the dust, trust in what you feel. Can be so while the world lives a rerun, I found a way to jump the gun. And now the lights, they surround you and me. And this time, this time, this time, it means everything. There's only one life that you could live it good, live it good. All you cottonwood, live it good. All you cottonwood, live it good, live it good. All you cottonwood. All right.
All right. That was Jeff Ray with Cottonwood from his 2009 record Blue Mara here on the back catalog listening party, man. I felt the aliens beaming me up there. Holy moly, that was fantastic, Jeff. How many time signatures were in that song?
It switches back and forth from like a 4/4 to a 3/4 over and over.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was. I was getting in my own head. Then I was counting all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
but that was super cool. And what was that sound at the very end? It almost sounded like a sitar or something like that. What was that?
That's a tanpura.
Okay.
Yeah, tanpura is like often you see it in a trio of sitar, tabla, and then the third person is a tanpura, which is just a drone instrument. It's a long thing with the strings, and you pluck it and it rings and rings and rings for forever.
Was that you playing that?
No, that one's actually an electronic tanpura, if you can believe it. And I ran it through some amps and some other stuff. I think we even also ran it through a Leslie speaker to do all
Cool.
sorts of stuff.
I love it. You're really like, creating like a soundscape with
Yeah,
all of these instruments.
it's an interesting, weird sound. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your process there? Again, like normally when I think Resophonic guitar player who likes blues,
Yeah.
it's a little more, foot
Yeah.
stomping, Mississippi John Hurt kind of thing, which
Yeah.
is awesome. I love
Right.
it. But
Yeah.
clearly you've got another vision for the way these songs lay out. What is
Yeah.
your process? How do you kind of form these songs to
Yeah.
what we're
It's
hearing?
weird. I think, my, growing up, like listening to like, Led Zeppelin, and then really getting into the Allman Brothers, and then the Grateful Dead, and really into improvisational music.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe all that, my brain is just messed up at this point.
Too many
And
long,
so,
strange trips.
yeah. So, and just trying to, I don't know. I think it's just more fun, I guess, to just see what you can do, and I float back and forth between the idea of like minimalism, where finding restrictions in what you have available actually makes you more creative, but then sometimes like bringing in other things can be creative as well, if you don't get carried away. So
Sure.
trying to find a balance of creativity without overload of gadgets.
But did you have like a vision? Like, was the space alien thing already in your
Oh
head
yeah.
as you were kind of putting this together?
Oh yeah, for writing the song. That actually, so what happened? I always go sit under trees and play guitar. I don't know. And
That's the way to do it.
yeah, and I was at a park in St. Paul, under a giant cottonwood tree, and it was just at the time of year when the cotton, not real cotton, but the stuff,
Yeah.
the seeds were falling through the air, and it was just everywhere. And I was just playing, and I came up with this song, and as I'm going, it just keeps becoming a song, and then the sun's going down, and I can see in the distance lights from the highway. So I-35, I could actually see from where I was, and the lights through the cotton, and then with the sun going down, it all became this really surreal moment.
Wow.
And then I had this vision of like the people, like our lives, we all fall like cotton, slowly. We all slowly descend, into our old age, and then I envisioned like maybe somebody would come and find us, show us a different way, and
I love
and
it.
then it became a song. So yeah, there's a lot
Awesome.
of allegory in there and stuff.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's a tidbit you can only get here on the back catalog. I love this because you can kind of feel some of that, but I couldn't put words to it. But I can now that when I listen back now again, I'll have a different appreciation for it as well. So I just want to mention that our friend David here actually owns your CD, one of the lucky ones that has a physical copy, and asked about the cover art.
Oh yeah,
which I definitely wanted to chat about because that is really cool.
So when I saw that comment, I went and grabbed the original.
Oh, look at that.
The paint, or it's not a painting, a drawing. There you go. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is the original. Sorry, the reflection on there.
Yeah.
The original by Sean Choza.
Okay.
Sean, and Shaun, Choza, Chosa.
How do you spell it? I'm gonna write it to make sure we get it in the show notes.
Yeah, so it's Sean, Shaun, and then last name is Choza, Chosa.
Got it.
And at the time, his company was called Wicked Art Design, and I think he was living up in Ihrig, I think.
Okay.
So Ihrig is up by the Banjo waters in northern Minnesota, and I was looking for some cool art, and I asked around, and Charlie Parr recommended him. So he's done a bunch of Charlie Parr's artwork.
It looks reminiscent of some Charlie Parr stuff for sure.
Yeah. So if you Google Sean Choza and Charlie Parr, you'll find a bunch of really cool posters he's done for him. I told him the idea, and I was like, all these weird ideas, and he's like, okay.
So I was curious, like, what did you tell him? Because it looks like there's a story, there's something happening here.
Yeah.
What were your directions on this one?
So it's kind of centered around the blue Mara term. So like blue being for like the influence of the blues in the music, but then also Mara. So in if I'm getting this right, in Buddhism, there's this various terms for various things, and Mara is, I believe, like a negative influence, or like evil or something like that. and so it's kind of like it's kind of showing like the world and the evil and like all it pulling at you, and the music is like getting you through kind of thing.
This could be the image for our show here. We started this in the pandemic, and that was essentially our whole mission.
And then, and then he threw a blues hat on him, and I thought that was hilarious. And so we were like, "This is cool, let's do it." So
yeah, and coming out of like what, a lotus flower?
Yeah, lotus flower there, and so there's like a kind of a Buddhism component to it. There's some like kind of jamming thing with like the bones, you know, and the kind of Grateful Dead reference a little bit.
Yeah, extra arms going on there. I like that.
Yeah, some extra arms. There's kind of like the you know, like almost like a Hindu looking thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome artwork, and it definitely, like, now the more we've chatted already about kind of your philosophy and how you're approaching this, very appropriate artwork too. It's very cool. Is that something that you're kind of constantly seeking out? Like it seems like, you know, we've mentioned India and Buddhism and things like that. Where does that kind of component, like, is there a spirituality to the music that you're consciously imparting?
I guess there kind of is. I guess I've always been like, you know, I don't want to call myself Buddhist, but I've always been very interested in Buddhism and, you know, Eastern philosophy and stuff. So I read a lot of, used to meditate a lot. I don't do it as much as I should now, but not that you should do anything really, but
playing music is pretty meditative.
And that's kind of where I was getting to, is like, but playing music. There was a person I knew in Madison who was he's actually a professor of psychology, and he talked about active meditation and passive meditation, and his form of like active meditation was running, you know, through the woods. And I do a lot of that too. So I think music is definitely like an active form of meditation and trying to find your groove, and just kind of a good, it's very, it just gives you grounding, you know, helps you. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely our kind of weekly meditation, and our my co-host, Ellen Stanley, Mother Banjo, is chiming in. Hi, Ellen. She says, "Sounding great here in Kansas City. I hope you're having a wonderful time with your family. We miss you for sure." But that's, you know, kind of getting back to what you were just saying. I mean, we really believe in the power of music for that, you know, and I know for me, every week, whatever happened Monday through Friday at 3:59 p.m. It kind of disappears for an hour. And I was telling my wife, I had a heck of a week this week, and I was telling my wife before I came up, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait. This is what I needed. And it really is a special thing when you can be present and just listen. And so we appreciate you sharing your music, and I want to just give a shout out to everybody who's out there listening with us, because I do think there's something that happens when we listen together. It's a phenomenon we've kind of registered here on the program more than once, and it means a lot that you're out there, and your comments and your questions also mean a lot. So if you have any comments and questions for Jeff as we listen to his music, definitely throw them in the comments. We'll try to get to all of them before the end of the hour. But these songs are longer than the normal folk songs.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah,
they're long.
I noticed that.
Apologize.
Yeah, and so I want to make sure that we which is great, because that's just more musical
And
meditation for me.
If we don't get to number 5, that's totally cool. It's totally fine.
But so I definitely want to jump into the music, get back to it. No, I love it, and I hope everybody out there is also finding some peace here. The next track we have queued up here is called "Until the Dust." Is there anything you want to say about this one before we give it a spin?
Yeah, I'll be real brief so I don't eat up the song time. I wrote this during the Iraq War, so it was like, I think 2004 or something like that, around there. And I was writing it, you know, playing it, whatever, and then reflected back on it later. Listening back, I was like, you know what I'm really writing about is 9/11. I realized this became, in retrospect, a song about 9/11 in a weird way, and kind of the public fervor and franticness that overtook the country. And so that's kind of what the song is about. But you know, when you hear it, it'll make more sense, I guess. But
all right, well, let's give it a listen. This is Jeff Ray, "Until the Dust," here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
start with forces beyond your control. When the winds pick up, walls rattle, and your good luck and bad luck fail. The voices inside your head start screaming that you're dead, and you question all the things that you said. A hailstorm forms, crashing all the norms, with police trapped in debris. You better wait till the dust settles. You better wait. Beside the new graves of the people you tried to save. Hear discussions that pretend everything gonna come around again. Multitudes spawn new attitudes, they say they're not to blame. You politely sigh with a tear in your eye. You know I had a dream we could all fly. You better wait till the dust is settled. You better wait. Images, disbelief, and you don't know which one's real. Think deep inside, you'd like to hide from the things you cannot deal. Your brother speaks with a sigh of relief. He claims you could never be real. Tempers rise, he can see in your eyes that it's time for the deal to go down. You better wait till the dust settles. You better wait. Face up to lies in the chaos of the storm. Lay down the guns bought with trust funds. You're being so pious and honest when you kneel. Give away fruits of the day to those who would rather steal. Just remember the storm ain't gonna care where you were born. It ain't gonna care how you'd like to die. Oh, you better wait till the dust settles. You better wait.
Jeff Ray, Until the Dust, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. This is from Jeff's 2009 release, Blue Mara. And man, that just the ensemble that you you put together for this really is great. At Mikkel on the percussion, and is that Nick on the bass?
Nick on the
Um,
bass. Yeah.
yeah, the stuff he was doing there on the bass just added so much,
Yeah.
and anyways, it's a really amazing sound. And I want to point out that while there might not be physical CDs available right now, if you are in or near the Twin Cities area or the Upper Midwest or wherever else Jeff might be, you can catch him live. And I wanted to make sure we asked a little bit about where you might be playing coming up, so people can come witness
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. A lot of the shows coming up are in the Twin Cities area. But yeah, if you're tuning in the area, tomorrow night we're playing at the 331 Club, and that is at 10 p.m. And then next Thursday I'm playing at the Dubliner, which is actually a happy hour show with Michael Beckman. So
Nice.
we're doing a duo show 5 to 7 at the Dubliner in St. Paul on September 28th. And then after that, there's a really cool festival in Highland Park at it's actually at Highland Park, the literal park. And it starts at noon. I think we play around 1 o'clock. And it's called Highland Park Harmonies. There you can find the event on Facebook and stuff too. That's really fun. A really, really fun one. It's outdoors. It's free. There's food trucks. Yeah, and then there's all sorts of other stuff scattered about. We do every fourth Saturday of the month at Hell's Kitchen. We do a brunch show,
Nice.
10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I'm actually not going to be at the one this Saturday. I got somebody filling in for me who's a really good friend of mine visiting from Memphis, Tennessee,
Ooh,
leading the stakes in a show. His name's Brian Blake. And
excellent.
he sounds kind of like Lyle Lovett, but songwriter, original music.
Awesome.
Yeah, so a
Go out
lot
and
going
see
on.
that, everybody. Go to
Yeah.
jeffraymusic.com
Yep.
and find out about all those shows. Get up on his email list so you can find out when and where he's playing. Purchase all the music that you can. I reckon there's how many CDs do you have out right now, Jeff?
I always lose track. I think there's 7. I think
7.
7.
So yes, and a little bit goes a long way. I know a lot of people do the streaming stuff these days. So if that's your jam, you can throw a little something in Jeff's tip jar to show how much you appreciate what he's doing. He's got a Venmo set up at Jeff Ray Music. You can throw some cash in there, or like I said, you can just purchase a record or go see a show. I mean, for musicians these days, that it means so much. So I highly encourage everybody to do that. And Ellen jumped in and
Oh
said,
yeah,
and we'll all get to hang out in Illinois in October for the
yeah,
Folk Alliance International's regional farm conference.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
That's October 19th through the 21st, I believe.
Yeah, you're
That's
hosting a
fun.
room, is that right?
Yeah, we're hosting a room, and it's talk about unlucky. Our room ended up being exactly at the same time, same night as Ellen's room.
Oh,
Like, no, the worst has
oh,
happened.
Ellen,
So
well,
yeah,
we'll figure it out. So we can split. We'll make sure
yeah, we're
people
gonna
go
have
to
to like run back and forth or something.
some go to others, and I'll be there with my
Oh,
bands
cool,
showcasing this year. So
nice.
it's going to be a big festival. You can find out more about that and all of Jeff's upcoming dates at jeffraymusic.com. You should go check it out. And man, this hour is flying really, really
Yeah,
fast. And
yeah,
before we
the
get any further, I just
long
real quick,
songs.
I know it's happens when it's like the best hour of the week, and it's the best hour of the week because of guests like you, Jeff, and also for these regular listeners who come in every week and ask these great questions, and we know that they're there with their earbuds or they're good speakers,
Yeah,
actively listening together.
yeah,
And
that's
a
awesome.
core of that group is a Patreon community that we started just after we started the show. We were trying to just kind of keep everybody going through the pandemic when we were all stuck at home. And a group of folks said, you know what, even though things are opening up and people are playing music again, we still want you to do this. We still want you to show up every week and feature music that we might not have heard before. And that's our Patreon community. And we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart, from Ellen and myself. We want to thank all the members of our Patreon community that show up every week to make this possible. So a big thank you to Penny, Ann, Alinda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, and Jocelyn, Court, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Many Tracks, Nikki, Joni, David, Sarah C, CJ, Wiley, and our newest Patreon member who has made it onto the banner, which we missed you last week, is Stephanie. Stephanie, welcome to the party. We're so happy to have you. If you're interested in being part of this Patreon community, we do have some after parties every now and again with the guests, and we have some in-person meetups, like we have one next week we're excited to do, and other kind of fun things that we have planned coming up. If you're interested, you can go to patreon.com/backcatalog listening party. But more importantly, just thank you for being here, for hanging out with us on YouTube. We're here every Friday at 4 p.m. And it's because you guys show up that we are here, and folks like you too, Jeff. So thanks again, and let's see if we. I'm kind of hoping we might be able to get to both these last two tunes. So that's why I'm talking really fast, folks. Because this is such good music and medicine here for me. The next song we have lined up is Sunshine City Tree. Anything you want to say about this one?
Yeah. So this is a really old song. I had my first album was actually called Sunshine City Tree, and the song I wrote actually when I was living in Memphis. I think I was 18 or 19 years old when I wrote this song, and it's basically inspired a lot by actually Rich Robinson of the Black Crowes, open G tuning kind of thing, and it's an instrumental tune, and it's one we would jam on a lot. And so I apologize for the length of this one, but again, sitting under a tree in the middle of a city. The song is dedicated to that beautiful tree in Memphis. It's called Sunshine City Tree.
Sunshine City Tree. Jeff Ray here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. That gets the applause after that was amazing. Holy
Rock and
moly.
roll, rock and roll.
That is just very emotive and tells a whole story in there. Wow, that was amazing. And this is a song that you still play live?
Yeah, not as often now, but I should. It's on a regular acoustic guitar, and I'm always bringing resonators, which don't work as well for that song. So, yeah,
Well,
whenever I have
people were
acoustic-
loving it. Getting all the sunshine, says Matthew Winters. And Connie just summed it up with 3 letters. Wow. Really, really amazing. Really amazing stuff. And if you're liking what you're hearing, definitely make sure that you like this on YouTube, so that more of YouTube's algorithms will show this episode and get Jeff into more people's eyes and ears. And you can also you can check us out at backcataloglisteningparty.com, where we also put the show notes. I've been collecting, got my post-it notes of Indian musicians and artists and Willie's guitars and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can go to backcataloglisteningparty.com/178. And I should have the show notes up here in the next day or two. But I'm talking really fast because I really want to get to one more song, because this has been the best hour of my week, and hopefully for yours as well, folks. And we do have one song left, and I think we can squeeze it in if you're up for it.
I'm cool. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. So the last song we have here is called "Go On My Blue." Anything you want to say about this one?
Yeah, this one is just like a nice, it's a simple love song about a lover called Blue. It's, I guess it's the only song on the record that's really like a solo performance without all the extra stuff, except a little bass guitar, I believe, thrown on there. And it's really inspired by Mississippi John Hurt, and also when I started getting into fingerstyle and was like basically learning Charlie Parr's songs, and so it's really inspired by John Hurt and Charlie Parr. So that's this song. It's a simple little love song.
Fantastic. A great way to end our hour here on the Back Catalog. If you like what you're hearing, again, like it on Facebook and hop in the comments. Tell us what you think. We're gonna send you home here with "Go On My Blue." This is Jeff Ray on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
cold, throat feels dry. I don't see you anymore. My head hurts, back so sore. I've been sitting here all day, all day. Don't matter what you feel. Don't matter how she flew. No, no. All I can say is go home on my blue. All I can say is go home on my blue. All I could ever say is go home on my blue.
That's Jeff Ray with Go On My Blue here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. We have been revisiting his 2009 release, Blue Mara, and what a fantastic hour of music. Jeff, thanks so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun. Oh, man.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, super cool.
This was really, really fun, and I'm super, super excited to dive into more of your catalog, and I think folks out there are also going to be interested in that as well. Joni says thank you for to bring the Twin Cities music community, not just here, but you and your music treasures. Thanks, Joni. And Connie says fabulous show, and we couldn't do it without all you out there listening, so thank you all for being here today. Thanks again, Jeff, for doing what you do. Again, if you're interested in Jeff and what he's doing, you can go to jeffraymusic.com. I've got that link in the comments, and you can find out more if you're interested in the show notes for today's episode. Just go to Back Catalog Listening Party /178, and you'll find all of that. And until next week, I hope that you all enjoy a wonderful week of music and friends and family, and I hope we can see you, Jeff. Thank you. Joel says, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Joel's in Sweden, I believe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Nice to see you,
chiming
Joel.
in, Joel. And that's what the music's all about. It brings people together.
Awesome.
And we're so happy that you all were here today. And until next week, we'll see you here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Cheers to whatever you got left in your glass. I think this is the end.